I will try tomorrow to live stream. Um, well, it says on the screen I'm live right now, but we'll see. Anyway, I did want to make a video here about Luis Campusano, the Padres catching situation, and what should be happening with that. Because right now it's just not in a good spot. You got Martin Maldonado making starts, Elias Diaz as well, and while at the beginning of the season, I thought it was one of the good stories for the Padres, you know, some guys, some of the both catchers actually, performing probably above our very low expectations for the catching position. But right now you got Elias Diaz, who's at a 67 OPS plus, league average is 100. Martin Maldonado's at 48. He's hitting 180. And yesterday it was the fifth inning, and you had Mike Schilt pinch hitting um, Martin Maldonado, pinch hitting for Martin Maldonado, had Trenton Brooks in the game. And it's like that was described by Schilt as the magic bullet that the Padres had. So when Trenton Brooks, who, very recently just got called up, and you're not just having Diaz pinch hit for Maldonado, you're burning one of your bench guys in the fifth inning when you're down 3-0 because you want to stay in that game. It's one of your situations where a couple guys are on base. Don't know if you're going to get that again in the game. So I do understand it, but like this catching situation is not in a good spot. And, in spring training, you had Mike Schilt talking about Martin Maldonado, actually uttering Yadier Molina in the same sentence, same paragraph as Martin Maldonado. And I get sort of what Schilt was saying about like the IQ and probably the veteran leadership and stuff like that, and that totally could be true. But recently, now Maldonado, I'm pretty sure beginning of the season, and Diaz throwing out runners, it was looking good. But there's been some pass balls, some balls that Maldonado should catch and not catching, and so that's been frustrating to watch. And Luis Campusano sitting there in the minor leagues, he hasn't gotten a lot of opportunities. When he's been called up, sure, he has not hit. I think he's 0 for 18 so far this year in the big leagues at the plate. And he's not known for his defense. You get called up, you should hit when that's what you're known for. I understand that. But with the hitting so bad right now from the catching position, and I'm not even that impressed by the defense right now from Padres catchers, for me, it's kind of like, why not give Luis Campusano this last shot? It's July 1st. The trade deadline's at the end of July right now, and it's not a surprise. It's in El Paso. The guy's raking since he was dropped back down there. He has a 325 average, a 1135 OPS. Is he one of those classic 4A guys where he just can't put it together in the big leagues? I'm not so sure, though, to be honest, because when he played, if I remember correctly, pretty consistently there in 2023 before he got hurt, I think something to do with his hand, he had an OPS over 800, and he was one of the better, I would say, offensive players on the team at that point. So I know the next year when I think it was around 90 games that he was playing, but still wasn't the starting catcher. That was Higgy. Now Higgy took it and run with it. He ran with it when I think Campy also got hurt again. But for me, it's like under Schilt this year, he hasn't gotten the opportunity. I understand why he hasn't gotten the opportunity. He's not the best defensive catcher. You have Maldonado with the work that he did in Houston and the respect that Schilt has for veteran catchers, Diaz being one of them as well. I understand, and I was fine with that. But when the catching position, they're not hitting, and I'm not trying to blame everything offensively on these guys because they're at the bottom of the order for a reason. And Schilt has openly said, like, I'm not quoting him, but the defense means more. Like offense, it's a plus. You need to be strong back there defensively. So that's probably the answer why Campy isn't up and he's not getting the opportunities because clearly he has more of an offensive potential than these two other guys. And it doesn't seem like this happened under Bob Melvin, now under Mike Schilt. The Padres don't trust Luis Campusano to be the everyday catcher. But for me, it's like, all right, you don't trust him, but you're just going to keep running out these guys right now when it's not working good enough. I just don't support that. And you could go like, well, you want to keep him raking in El Paso so he can have some value to teams before the deadline. But other teams can look at the Padres and be like, you literally have him in AAA. You don't think that highly of him, or else you'd give him a real shot in the big league. So no, he doesn't actually have that much value. He could have an OPS over 1,000 for forever in El Paso, and still may not have that much value for other teams. I'm just saying. So it's July 1st. The Padres could use more offense, clearly, not just as a whole, but from the catching position. How about let's try Luis Campusano for a couple of weeks, have him start every day as much as he can, because I know it's the catching position. But if he's not starting at catcher, have him DH. Give him the time. Because when he's been called up, and this has been multiple times, where he gets called up and he sits on the bench, he doesn't play, or he DHs a game, or he'll come in and hit against Kike Hernandez. I think he hit against Kike Hernandez. Like, give him the real at bats. I don't care if you put him down there eighth, ninth in the order, but give him the consistent at bats. Give him the consistent playing time, because in Kevin Acey's Padres Daily, he was talking about how sources, I think in AAA, are like how locked in Campy is, and the mindset, and just the teammate, the leadership. Like, that's all there. So for me, it's like this is the time to give him that shot. When it's not September and you're, you know, fighting for a playoffs. I know you're fighting for a playoff spot now because every game matters, but you get what I'm saying. It's not September. It's before the deadline. Maybe this is going to be your solution, and you can go focus on other areas instead of trying to go upgrade the catching position. I feel like the Padres will still try to upgrade the catching position. And me vouching for Campy right now, I'm not even the biggest fan of Luis Campusano. I'm just not a big fan of the catching situation at the moment. So, that's really where I'm at. Like, why not try it? That's where I'm at. And if it doesn't work, okay, then you can go give him. Maybe this is a Gavin Sheet situation where the White Sox are right. It's not working. Go to another team, and maybe Campy ends up being a starting catcher and one of the best offensive catchers in the league, and it ends up working out on another team. At least find like that. Find the answer. Is it going to work here or is it not? If it's not, well, at least you know because you gave him some opportunities here in July instead of having him sit there in El Paso while you got a 130 hitter or whatever Martin Maldonado is. What did I say he was? 180, sorry. You got a 180 hitter, catching. And it's not like in the starting rotation, you've got Musgrove and Darvish healthy, and they're like, no, I don't want to pitch to Luis Campusano. You've got guys like Ryan Bergert coming up, Matt Waldron. I know Waldron's, different with the knuckleball, right? But Maldonado is even struggling a little bit with the knuckleball. So for me, it's just like Pavetta, okay, yeah, you can pitch to whoever you want, right? There are guys where it's like, yeah, you can pitch to whoever you want. But then there's other guys where it's like Randy Vasquez, some of these other guys, it's like, no, for now, this isn't forever. For now, you throw to Luis Campusano and you give him the shot. But I think the unfortunate thing, the sad thing here is the Padres just aren't willing to do that because whether it's Schilt, I think more people in the front office actually believe in Campy. I feel this is more like in the dugout, in the clubhouse type of thing where they just don't trust him, and that's that. And so I just don't know if he's going to get that opportunity to play every day. Maybe we'll see a call up here in July. Maybe there'll be some phantom IL thing or someone will actually get hurt and, they will have to call up Campy. But, and again, I'm not the biggest Campy fan. I've probably said this already multiple times this season to like explain why Campy's not up to people that wanted him up even before this. And I was like, well, clearly he's done something wrong for the coaches to not trust him. The organization, whoever's making these big decisions here. I don't know if it's Preller that's like, I don't like Campy, or it's Schilt. I feel like it's more on the coaching side in the dugout. Pitchers, maybe they say, I don't trust Campy. But I felt like that has gotten better, the trust there with Campy. I thought he had worked hard to, be better at that and be locked in. To me, it's just like he would have already gotten more of a chance and more playing time. Like, remember, I think the last time he got called up, it wasn't to catch. It was to be a hitter off the bench, to DH, really that sort of thing. And so the catching thing feels like it's going to be out the window. But maybe even call him up to see about his bat. Have Gavin Sheets go play left. You can change things around and have a defensive replacement. If you get that advantage later in a game, but maybe give Campy like consistent, even just at bats in the big leagues to see before. I feel like you should probably just make the decision on Campy before this trade deadline and be like, it's going to work or it's not going to work. But I want the Padres to at least see, okay, is it going to work? And maybe they've made the declaration, they've come to their answer already, like it's not going to work. We don't need to see him in the big leagues. We know it's just not going to work from stuff that they're seeing, obviously behind the scenes, and just more stuff that we see, right? And I'm not watching every AAA game to see what he's doing behind the plate, but just the way that the catching situation looks like right now, it's just frustrating to see them continue to go to these guys when you still have like, to me, it's unanswered about Campy. This year I'd like to see him have that consistent playing time, and it's just not happening. I guess I'm live because I am seeing comments here. Again, I'm on a different platform because it changed. I was on StreamYard, now on Riverside, so I was trying to have this just be a recording and then have it go up, but it says I'm live and I'm seeing comments here. I'm glad that I can see the live chat, so that's good. Because I was planning on going live, obviously, after the Phillies series tomorrow, the doubleheader, because there was no game today with the rain out. But might as well go through the chat now. So, you know, in advance, apologies to partners of the show. I don't have the graphics, the overlay usually, the ticker at the bottom, promoting stuff. So I'll just have to audibly do it, during the live show tomorrow. But and it obviously will be in the description on YouTube. But yeah, now because I didn't put any description on YouTube for this, I thought it was going to be a recording. So I'm actually going to look on YouTube right now. Apologies if you hear any audio from that, because I just want to see what it looks like on your guys' end. Okay, so it just has a title, Welcome to our live show. It doesn't even have any title. And it made up a description for me. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you guys are, seeing it at least. I'll know to have to make a title next time and it's going to go live. I was hoping that it would be a recording, but we'll see. Let's see, going into the chat here. Dino says AJ has him doing good in bushes for trade bait. But how much, like I said earlier, how much value actually does Campy have? Because teams can just say to AJ, you have him in AAA in El Paso, hitter friendly. Like, if he was actually that valuable to you, you'd have him at the big league level while your team is struggling offensively, but you don't. So should we actually give you what you want for Campy? Sherrington Bun asks, is AJ getting anybody? Yes, he will. I'm confident in saying that he will. I think it's just a question of who, how many guys. He's going to get a bat, and he's going to get an arm. Will it be a catcher, left field, multiple bats, multiple arms? Will it be rotation and bullpen? But I would set the over-under at probably 2.5 for players that he will acquire before the deadline. My mic volume is kind of low, okay? Thank you for letting me know. Because my soundboard is the same that it usually is. Maybe this is better? Campy wants to get DFA'd, LOL. He probably wants a fresh start somewhere else. Yeah, he probably does. But right now he's probably like, hey, I'm just going to mash in AAA and get traded hopefully to a place that will play me. Irie says Luis Campusano has those vibes of when he does change teams, he's going to hit like 25 homers with like a 275 average. Watch. Because the team that acquires him, he may go to the Marlins. I don't know the Marlins catching situation. Sorry, I'm not locked into the Marlins, but let's say that they don't have like this firm catcher every day and he plays every day. Well, he's going to have a better opportunity to do that because he's actually playing every day at the big league level. So it depends on where he goes, but I could see that if he goes to a bad team that gives him the playing time. Diego says, "Hey, what's going on, Ben? Hope things have been great. Same to you. What's your take on going after Sandy Alcantara? I think that Ruben could definitely work with him. There is the injury risk, and I feel like the Marlins they don't have a ton of big league talent to go sell, and Sandy's like the big guy. So even with him not being the old Sandy right now this season, I feel like they're still going to sell high on him. What I mean by that is like, because right now they're kind of selling low, but they want to sell high still because they see Sandy as like, oh yeah, he's that Cy Young Sandy. This is who you're getting. And do the Padres one have enough to meet the Marlins asking price, like realistically for what they're willing to give up? And like, do they even want to do that? They could just want to go after someone that's actually pitching well this season. Um, Let me see Sandy's numbers. This year he's got a negative 1.3 WAR, 6.98 ERA, 16 starts. His last outing was the 28th against the D-backs. 6 innings, 7 earned runs. I mean, he's not walking a ton of guys, but he's not striking out a ton of guys either. So I would think that Ruben would put him in a better spot for sure, but I feel like the Marlins' asking price is still going to be high. I'd like to go after him because the talent's there, obviously. I saw Dennis Lin did write about this. Yeah. Can I show this on? I think I can. Yeah, okay. You can't see my face, but our left field trade options are Luis Robert Jr., Adolis Garcia, although maybe he'll cost a lot, Jesus Sanchez, Brian Reynolds, Taylor Ward, catcher Sean Murphy, although he may be unrealistic. Yeah, the Sean Murphy thing is interesting because isn't Darno like their everyday catcher? So maybe, but if I'm the Braves, I don't want to just give it like the catching. If you have two really good catchers like that's the best catching combo I would say in Major League Baseball, just off the top of my head, with those two names. I wouldn't just want to give that up. But the Braves this year, they're also not playing great baseball. So are they actually going to be in like, you know, contending a contending situation where it makes sense to hold on to both catchers like that? Because right now, like they're 7.5 games out of a wild card spot. They're not going to be in contending. I don't think it doesn't seem like it. So maybe that does open that up, and they're more willing to give Padres Sean Murphy. But yeah, of course, I'd go after Sean Murphy. Yeah, that totally would be an upgrade. Adolis Garcia, interesting. The Rangers, they're still in there, yeah, and a lot could happen. So we'll see about him. And then the White Sox, kind of with the Marlins, like Robert's the one guy that stands out to me on that team now because they've traded Crochet, Cease, they trade guys. So I feel like they're going to ask for a lot as well. And do the Padres want to do that for a guy that has injury history as well? Am I still quiet? Let me check the chat here. Am I still quiet? Can someone in the chat say like how I sound? Anyone? Do I sound louder than I was earlier, or because I want to have this, kind of dialed in before the live show tomorrow. Again, I wasn't expecting to go live right now, but that's just what it says that I am. So might as well get the problems out of the way. Okay, so I do sound okay. So I turned it up on the system over here. Okay, should be good then. All right. Well, thank you all for the time. I was not expecting to spend 20 minutes with you, but I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Had some thoughts there on the Campy situation. Right now, by the way, he has a 1135 OPS since being sent down. Meanwhile, you got Martin Maldonado making starts at the big league level for this team. And since the start of that Dodger series, June 10th, he has a 200 average. He has a 766 OPS. And yeah, to me, it's just like, why not try it? Why not try it? All right. Thank you, everyone. And I'll see you tomorrow. I probably will just look like this again. I don't think that I just can't. I tried before doing this to see about the overlays and try to make it look like it was when we were on StreamYard, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be working right now. So it'll just be like this. But thank you for the time, and hopefully I can stop this now.